Hi, it's Xavier, and I'm in my bonsai retreat, and the morning sun is throwing itself down on the left side of my head. I've got my Korean sun cream, as recommended through Candice on Bonsai Science, and this is actually going to be coming out on Tuesday, which you'll see today, because today will be Tuesday for you, won't it? You know, it's not rocket science, is it? Clearly, the Dawn Redwoods are going to get there working. But before we go into that, I must say straight away, Tony, my thoughts are with you. I'm sure everyone in the community, the thoughts are with you as well. You've made a massive impact and a change, and God willing, who knows, that may still be the case. But either way, definitely there for you. I want to plug now straight away this Saturday, I think around about 1 o'clock, Tony's already announced that he's having a bonsai extravaganza, and I'll be going. And if he wants me to do anything for him, wiring, show my expert techniques, which he's systematically debunked. I mean, they're all joking. And I'm bringing up Alex Braunton as well, and you've seen him on one of my videos. But no, looking forward to Saturday. And I do ask that if anyone can actually make it up there, get in contact with him. But thoughts are with you, and thanks for introducing the Tony Chop, because I've certainly been implementing it quite a few times. Well, I'm not so sure about the vet tape. Anyway, enough of that. I'm sure you'll see lots of videos about Saturday's extravaganza, and I'm not sure I'll be taking my video cam for that, because that's a day for Tony. But anyway, Dawn Redwoods, love them, and it was probably one of the first trees that I realised I'd been pruning incorrectly. Actually, I realised that about quite a few trees, but no, I've already done a pruning early spring on one of them. I think it was this one, where I just did some bud selection and stuff that had been left over from last year. But what we've all been waiting for is for those shoots, which is these ones here, to go that lovely, musty, reddy, sort of burnished colour, because that tells us we can get in there and we can do some pruning. Because what we're trying to do with that pruning is get the tree to throw out new buds, and as soon as it gets injured or wounded or is going to lose a branch, it throws out new buds. And we want those buds to extend and actually harden off before we hit autumn. Because we all know what happens in autumn, everything goes yellow, and any of these shoots, no matter how good they are, if they haven't started to harden off, the tree drops them. Last year was an absolute cooker, and all the growth and all the ramification I was trying for this one and the others, an absolute write-off. So this year I'm hoping for better things. If you want to see a really detailed explanation of all this process, then definitely that video, which will be somewhere up there, is probably going to be more detail. All I'm going to do is talk you through this one, because I want to get this video out in time for Tuesday. So anyway, this one's for you, Tony. And just a reminder of what we're talking about, what we're looking for. If we look at this this shoot here, I think hopefully you can clearly see you've got a very browny sort of rust colour there. That means it's lignified enough that if I cut anywhere here, that will promote budding further back. A lot of the time it'll be at the junctions or around these. As you can see in this one here, a little bud has come up from that junction there, but it'll promote back budding, and that's what we're looking for. And so with that colour in mind, I can now already decide whether I want to keep these two. There's 3 on here. I can take the tip off. I may take alternates depending on what I'm trying to achieve with my my branch placement and the pads that I want to develop and where it is in the tree. But I know that whatever pruning decisions I make, I cut back there, I will get more buds. If it was this colour, clearly a green colour, then no matter how long the shoot is, no matter how much you want to prune it, like here, you wouldn't. And again, the other thing you're looking at is you already want it to have branching coming out, so you've got a point to prune to, otherwise there's no point pruning back. Firstly, I wired this up in February, so I'm going to remove the wire. No sign of biting in, but that's as long as I really want to have it on for. I'll probably only do a very, very little bit of pruning, and the reason why in this instance is because I had such a bad year. I'd actually quite like it to get a lot more thick growth, so I'm not going to be going heavy, and I mean that. Don't you say anything up there either. So let me get the wire off, and then come back to you. And yes, I went for the hat in the end because my ear started to cook after just 2 minutes. And that's because someone was speaking about me out there in subscriber land. That's likely as well. Okay, the wire's off. No issues with scarring or anything. So what's that? It's 3 months and it's through the growing. But it also says that it hasn't had that massive solid flush of growth that might normally be associated with the redwood. It's not been too bad, but you know, I've seen better. Anyway, I'll give you a spin. Mr. Dinosaur's gone on his way. I mean, I've had this definitely since 2016. And interesting root structure, everything. Lovely, I love that. It's got a nice shape on it. No wire scarring on it. And I'm just developing that nice brown structure. I'll be looking to bring this down a little bit more. But yeah, I love it. I think it's a wonderful tree. It probably counts as one of my favourites, and I love working with Dawn Redwood. So, as I said to you, I'm not going to go overboard on it. That's why I've explained what it is that I would be doing if there was more on it. Now here, we've got branches nicely. Well, I mean, the wire's held as well. I've got some nice movement in those branches. We've got this one here, and then we've got one coming up. But just to the side of it, we've got another one there. Now, I've got the choice here of removing that or forming another pad further up there. And in terms of, you know, where the branch is, so we've got 2 off here, 2, so it's not going to cause an issue with taper. But I don't know. I'm not sure. Part of the back of the tree, that would be this part here. So I'm not sure how that would. I think it quite look good. There's a bit of vacant space there. Got more vacant space up here, but anyway. It's always interesting because of the way the fronds grow. If you actually do any pruning, you can lose a substantial amount, and it's very much harder to predict how the new bud's going to come out. So I'm just going to do some pruning because I accept that if I don't do the pruning, I'm not going to get any buds from it. So, you know, let's have a look. Let's go straight to this one. This is the lowest one. We've got a lovely bend in it. Love it. We've got one from a junction here, which it would be nice, but we don't need it. So we'll get rid of that junction one there. And there's also another one here we don't need. We'll clean up that junction. And that's the first thing. So following along the junction lines, again, we're looking here. Yeah, so I'm cleaning up along these here. We've got a bud there. Don't want that because I actually like these two here. And here's an example of, we've got growth here and here. I'm going to clip that one back, just the growing tip, because I don't want it to grow out any further. And just take the growing tip out of that one. So on this branch here, I'm happy with this one. I've got 2 going out, and I want to see that continue to bud out so I can pull that pad further. We've got this one here, which I am going to shorten off. This one, although there's a place, it's brown here, but it's still green there, and there's no other branches coming off it, so I'm not going to touch that. But here, we've got this branch here, I like it. Got division, so we're going to cut back to there. And on this one, we've got the one division. I'll just cut the growing tip off on this one. And that's, to be fair, that's pretty well all I'm going to do for that pad. So if you look at that whole pad, that's what we've got. And I need that to consolidate and see what buds we push out from there. Be interesting to see. Quite a long length there. There's nothing actually there, which is why I put the movement in there. No other buds showing at the junctions. We've got this one here, but that is still very, very green, so there's nothing I can do with it. I'll take that stub off. Then we look at this one here. We've got growth on it, but within the shape I will probably again just go back to that first. So I've just got the one division there, and on this one again there's absolutely no, although it's starting to brown off, although it's relatively green, there is no other new shoots going off it, so I can't touch that one. Moving further around here, we've got something in the background there, so we'll get rid of that. Clear the junction off. Then we're going to have to look at this. So we've got growth there we can't touch. We've got this one here that's got it's got new branches coming off it, but it's still very, very green. So I can't do anything with that. But that one I'll wait, and if in another couple of weeks that's browned off, then I will take it back to that point there. This one, that's definitely brown, so I'm going to take it off to there. Looking underneath, we've got this one going across here. I'm going to leave that for now. And then on this one, we've got 1, 2, 3 almost from the same point. So I've got to decide whether I lose anything. Well, I can definitely, because of the colour, that's a brownie colour, so I can actually cut that back. But the one beneath it's actually green. So I'm going to leave that for now. And the one here, bit of brown there, so I'll cut that as well. And if you look at the orientation, it's almost going at 90 degrees to it. So the chance I'm going to remove it, because what I want is more buds to come from there, but at a much more better angle for me. And I think ideally I do want more buds from there, so I'm going to encourage bud from there, and just as soon as you take basically most of that off, the tree is going to send out more buds from that point there. This branch here, we've got 3 on the same side. I was trying to wire, what I've done is wired it so that we have these 2 going out that way. Bring it back to that first junction, take the tip off that one. This one at the back, nothing I can do about it, but it's providing foliage. We have got this one here. It's not actually doing anything, and in the long-term design I probably won't keep it. In fact, if I remove that now, then I may get a better bud coming out of there. And that's one of the things to think. As soon as you remove something from this tree, it will initiate budding, and then I may get something that actually comes at an angle that I want that way rather than horizontal. We've got these 2 lovely, love these. These are nice, and then underneath it there's another one. So that's creating a nice sort of 30-degree pad structure. If you look underneath it, you've got these ones. That one's not too bad, I think, but this one here is no good to anybody. So cut that one back there. I actually want that's no good to me going in that way. I've got this nice structure here which will work beautifully and fan out, so that's what I want, and see what new buds come from there. We've got 2 on this side, but they're green, so although that's got shoots off it, I can't yet cut that because that's not showing the sign of lignification, but I will eventually cut off from here. And there are 2, so one of them will probably go. Now ideally I'd actually like this one because it's right on the bend, and get rid of that one also because of the spacing. And I may still get, if I get some branches coming out of there, then this will be the one I'll keep, and I'll remove that one. So one of the obvious questions people will probably have is, can I make a cutting out of that? It's quite a fleshy thing, shoot, and from my experience these tend not to do so well. I've had most success with either something that's a little bit harder, and where you're looking at removing a really long shoot. If I was looking at something just hardened off a little bit more, so a little bit more lignified, and I find the best time for that is actually when I'm doing my pruning in the late February, and I'm removing last year's growth. So they're the sort of, are they semi-hardwood, or they count as hardwood? That's not to say that I haven't had success with redwood cuttings this time of the year. I have, but it's on growth that's been allowed to extend, and it's had a really strong spring, and I haven't quite got the growth that I want on this one. But definitely try. Make sure you've got your water, not only to drink, well actually you don't want to drink that one, but to pop your cutting on, and I would put it into a, well, to be fair, I've put it in standard bonsai soil and it's been fine, but if you want to be careful, sort of vermiculite, sandy, grit, something like that, I don't know. But yeah, most success for me with Dawn Redwood tend to come in the spring, early spring. Okay, well, I know it's not going to look that much different. To be fair, as I said to you all the way, this is it's producing growth, but and at a nice reasonable level, but not at a flush level that tells me the tree is, you know, bursting with vigor or anything like that. This is definitely a case of I'm producing the foliage that I feel satisfied that I can support. And certainly Mr. T-Rex agrees. There's only one decision to make here, and it's that one up there. Do we need that? Odd looking. Comes out at a curve there. Got this growth coming up higher. But what I have got is just here, a little green shoot there, and growth here. And I actually think about what I'm trying to do with that. I need to be cutting that right in. So this is where I make a choice and take it out. I think Jason Hanrahan of the Bonsai Garden says they're like wet feet, which means make sure you've got free draining soil, or at least have them in the shady area. Keep them hydrated. Never let these things dry out, because obviously it shows itself by killing off these very, very thin fronds, which is why you see them die off so quickly. So I'm going to clean this surface off and then chuck in a couple of Dougie's balls, put it in the corner of the garden and leave it. Okay, we'll have a look at the next one now, shall we? And also, much as I'd love to say, you know, everything's going well, you know full well that there's been lots of reports from various different bonsai creators and subscribers about trees dying, and trust me, it's happening at this end as well. I've mentioned it numerous times, but I've just discovered that whole oak forest that I originally dug up from my sister's, perfectly healthy, nice, deep pot. No obvious reason. That's brown bread. Maple, no reason for it to kick up its roots, but it's brown bread. Another oak that's back from 2016. It too has decided that this world is not for it. Might be the global warming, not happy with the state of the climate. And this, which was my brush cherry, is the first ever video I ever filmed actually. I think one of the most unpopular as well. Well, actually no, I've got quite a few unpopular ones. But yeah, the brush cherry, Sizinium. But it turned around and said, no one wants to watch me, you don't love me, so I'm going somewhere else. And it did. Get another pot out of it anyway. Right, back to the redwoods. Another favourite of mine, got a bit of wire on it, so I need to get the wire off. Very, very interesting shape, and has definitely come a long way. And this too, some growth. We've got, you know, all of the branches are definitely lignified enough that I can prune. So I'll prune back to here. Got a bifurcation there, so I'll take that tip off. Underneath here, I'll do the same, take it back here. On this higher one here, we've got growth in here coming across, so I'll clean it out a bit. But interesting, I like the nice wide, it's that very prehistoric feel. I do like them, they are a very unique tree. And there used to be a really quite deep wire scar there, that's pretty well gone now. I think next year this is going to go into a Dawn Isaac pot and get it out of this blue thing. So I'll get the wire off, get it all trimmed up and show you how it looks. Probably not very much different. Now what I will say is I still experimented a little bit on these, and I didn't get to see the results of it last year, but I'm very, very keen that this shoot actually comes out because it's a lot closer in. This one has such a long internodal before the first shoots that that's really the one I want, and part of me is thinking, well, maybe get rid of it, but I want to keep as much vigor on this as possible. What I do try and do though is where I've got issues I can experiment on, and here's one just here, right at the top. So really ideally I actually want growth I want bifurcation 2 or something from there. But what I don't want in the end, what I don't want is this horizontal 90 degree. So I experiment with this. I want it to bud again, so I just cut these back. And I meant to find it last year and observe how that reacts to that, and whether we get some budding perhaps a little bit further back or somewhere a little lower down. But either way, so it's all, you can still experiment. That's quite a big area without anything. I suppose the truth is with these, because of the way they the way they grow, you've just got to accept that your patterns aren't going to be as you'd want, and you can wire to a degree, but they're Dawn Redwoods. You get lots of frond growth all over the place. Okay, so I've taken off a reasonable amount of fronds, basically cutting back to first junctions all over. I'm going to keep one bit of wire on here because I've just repositioned that to fill this area here. And then I'm going to truthfully feed this up and watch it and see where we get these new buds coming from. And I'll report back on this one in probably another 2 months' time. I don't know, 2.5 months. Very fond of this one. Dear oh dear. Okay, so this third one, which is the probably the last of the major ones I've got. Again, a bit of wire up. It's a bit more vigor up in the top, but truly, this one I will do very little to it. I actually want this to get a bit more vigor in it, and the only way we're going to get that is with lots of growth. So where there's some obvious issues, here's a case. Just here, got bat wings basically. So that bat wing is growing into the tree. Let's just get rid of it. And who knows, if this one then divides and we get some nice bifurcation further here, be all right. Here we've actually got a little budding there, and then this weak growth here. Just take the tip out of that. But really, that's the growth I want. Behind it, there's something here that's not going to be any good to anybody because that's pointing the wrong direction. So we'll get rid of that. Okay, so got this one finished. A little bit damper soil here. And obviously, what I do need to do is make sure that we don't get rotting down there. But if you have a look here, and again, this is one where you can use a metal brush or whatever and just scrape up the wood, because if you get that bark off, it definitely lifts. Underneath that, lovely. Believe it or not, the colour of the wood, you normally want to take a guess at the colour of the wood under there. And if you can see it there. When it dries out a bit, I'll pull it off, but you can already see it almost looks to be, I don't know, what colour would you call that? Closest I can think of is red. Probably that's why they call it a redwood. What do you reckon? Okay, so that's that one. I apologise now for those who were waiting for the larch, because it was going to be larch. It was going to be showing on Tuesday, but I may bump something else and get the larch on Thursday or maybe Saturday. So as I said, I've had quite a bit of success with redwood cuttings, and I'll say now, this is not the same as a coastal redwood. That's when I made my first mistake. I watched a episode on redwoods by Ryan Neal, and he talked about, you know, cutting back halfway through fronds and that to promote more budding, and I was looking, I couldn't see anything like it, but I didn't work out that coastal redwood and Dawn Redwood, two entirely different species, and definitely pruning rules are different. So anyway, so these are Dawn Redwoods. This is one of my cuttings, and I've got a whole batch of them at different ages. This is probably 3 years, no, it's definitely 3 years, maybe 4 years. It's going to be a formal upright, clearly. But I will do the same thing with pruning there. So it's got lots of growth, but here it's bending upwards, but I've got some nice branches here. So that's what we want. Get rid of growth in here. Don't want growth there or there. Got this low branch here again. What I want to do, I'm going to be obviously bringing it right back in. So where just here we've got something coming out here. I will cut that. Hardwood cutting, will I give that a go? most definitely. I'll put that straight into some bonsai soil, bottom end of the garden, and see what happens. The nice thing about doing it with your cuttings is that you're able to control things a lot more, as you would with anything that you've brought up all by yourself, although they do sometimes rebel against you, don't they? What else could we be talking about? Where I'm trying to get growth that's this way, not that way, I've got an opportunity here to take that one off so that I can get these to grow. This branch is a bit of a pain, this one. What I really need is more buds from there to get more buds from there. All I need to do is that. And obviously I think as it goes nearer up, it would actually be leaning upwards as it's reaching for the light. And this high up, if you're going this high up in the tree, you would not have that great distance, so we'll get rid of that now. So that's what I wasn't going to show you. That's how I keep on top of my my redwood cuttings from Xavier. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch us. I do hope any of you who's thinking of getting to the Tony's Extravaganza, please get in contact with him on his YouTube channel through comments. Or if you can't get to him, you can comment to me and I will pass on your details. I know he's very keen to meet up with as many people as he can, and there'll be a big auction, and goodness knows I haven't heard the half of it. But I'm going up there because he's a friend and I want to support him, and he supported me and the work that I've been doing. So, as I said, this one's for you, Tony. I hope you enjoyed if you've watched it, and if you haven't, we'll understand why. All the best. Happy bonsaiing. God bless. Cheers.